So I want to start this video off with a question for my law enforcement guys. You know, the guys who maybe don't shoot competitions or practical shooting stuff. Sort of a two-part, I guess, question. First one being, how often do you go to the range? And be like completely honest. And the second one being, if you don't go a lot, why don't you go a lot? Go ahead, drop your answers down in the comments. I'm very curious to see what people have to say on that. But without further ado, let's get into today's video, which is going to be Range Day episode 5. So I got out there with my buddy Texas Gun Arsenal. His Instagram should be on the screen right now. And the main point of the Range Day was I wanted to shoot the gateway defense standards one time all the way through. So kind of how they have it set up where you shoot each drill and you only have 2 tries. You take the best hit factor from both of those tries and you kind of get a standard of where you're at. So I should have some clips playing in the background of that, just short clips, but that's actually going to be a whole separate video. I'm going to be collaborating with another guy talking specifically about that and how practical shooting applies to cops. So stay tuned for that. But the secondary goal of the range trip was to sort of use the gateway defense standards as a gauge to see where we're at. And then from how we performed on those drills, kind of decide what we're going to do from there. So probably the biggest thing that I noticed for myself, among a lot of stuff, honestly, but the biggest thing that I had struggled with was my reloads with the pistol. So gun is clear and safe. I have a empty magazine here just to demonstrate. So what I would have an issue with specifically on that drill was when I would drop the mag, and I don't know what caused me to start doing this, but I would sort of flick my, of course it goes out nice now, but I would kind of flick the gun a lot. And I'm sure if you've seen some of my stuff, you've seen me do this a lot, but I'd flick it and it get kind of caught up right here. And I'm just kind of doing this whittle game trying to get the mag out. So after the gateway defense shooting standards, we did a bunch of reps of just 1 reload 1s. So I understand there's like some debate about, you know, is 1 reload 1 actually like worth your time? Because it's not super difficult to just slam the mag in there and then come up and send a predictive shot at the target. But I was at a far enough distance. I think I was at probably anywhere from 10 to 15 to where I personally am not good enough to predictively just punch the gun out and shoot 1 round off and get a good hit. So for me and where I'm at in my shooting journey, I was still having to make sure I was getting a good presentation, good grip, all that sort of stuff to get that second round off accurately. So like I said, initially when I was doing these 1 reload 1s, I was having the issue where the magazine was sort of getting stuck right there. It's not wanting to cooperate. This wasn't the magazine that I used, but they're kind of stuck here and I was having to really, you know, shake it to get it out. And while I was doing this, my buddy sort of called out and was like, hey, like, have you tried just keeping the gun flat and dropping the mag when the gun is still completely flat? And I was like, huh, I guess I really haven't ever explicitly tried this and see if that could work. And so transitioned over to trying to focus on keeping the gun flat sort of right here as I'm hitting the mag release. And wouldn't you guess it helped a lot. So once I had that in mind, got a bunch of reps just trying to make sure to keep the gun like upright so that the mag could just fall out straight down, and then I could get the new mag in there and get the second round off. And then another issue I was having with the reloads was every time, because my hands aren't super big, and this is a full-size Lot 17, so every time I would go to hit the mag release, if you can see, like my thumb doesn't reach it with my typical grip. I physically cannot reach it. And it's duty gun, so I don't want to get like an extended mag release that could potentially drop out on its own if I just have a really tight, good grip on the gun. So I have to, like, I have no other option but to rotate my hands slightly to be able to reach the mag release. So the problem I was having was not necessarily rotating my hand, but getting my hand back into position properly. And so again, my buddy, shout out to him, he's helped me a lot, kind of figuring all this stuff out. He recommended two things to me. So when I'm up on the gun and engaging, when I go to reload, sort of dragging this index finger and using my support hand to pull the gun instead of doing like a flip, like kind of throw the gun and then catch it rapidly. So using my index finger to pull the gun sideways so that I can reach the mag button. And then he also recommended when I go to get my grip back on the gun, using a combination of my index finger and my thumb to push the frame back into position in my hand as I'm marrying my grip up. So that was all discussed after we were done with live fire stuff. We were just kind of hanging out, talking when he had brought that up. So I don't have any actual footage of me doing that, but I did some dry reps of it. Felt really good. I need to dry fire that more and then do some more live fire with that to make it, you know, subconscious to where I don't have to think about doing it. But something I need to work on, and you know, maybe that sort of tip will help some of you as well. And then for a good portion of the range day, we just did some plinking around, having fun with rifles. Nothing like super specific. We did the same kind of one reload one thing for a little bit, but really I just wanted to get some rounds down range with a new Zero Tech optic that is currently not released, but should be coming out here fairly soon. And so I'm currently testing it, and once that comes out, I will have a full video on it coming out as well. Also, one thing I really liked that he had on his rifle was the HRF RCM, I believe is what it's called. It's the Madwell for the rifle. Got some reps with his rifle doing the one reload ones, and it was a night and day difference with how fast and easy it was to index the mag into the Madwell. It just went so much smoother. So I'm not even joking, like the second I got home, I ordered one myself, and I'm gonna be putting that on my duty rifle. Also, a little duty gun update. So I have a duty gun video on my channel already that I went over all the stuff that I have on it, but some stuff has changed. Nothing too major, but I actually have my Surefire back on here temporarily because the batteries for my mod light are just shot. They're bad. I guess that's a pretty common issue with the mod light batteries, and so I just haven't gotten around to ordering more. And then I just did this actually just now after the range. I noticed on my buddy's gun, he had this like really aggressive grip tape that I really liked, how it felt and how it dealt with my unnaturally sweaty hands. And so all it is basically it's the grip tape that you can buy at Lowe's or Home Depot that you would usually put on like stairs or something like that to prevent people from slipping. And I just cut it up and put it on the grip here. So it's not super pretty, but that's kind of what I have going on instead of the Dune tape. I left the bat strap free of it, and then I added some also under the trigger guard. And I haven't been able to do live fire with it yet, but just holding the gun in dry fire here, like it just feels so much more locked in. And even with sweaty, oily hands, like I don't necessarily feel at this point any issues with like losing grip on the gun. And then I noticed with the tape underneath the trigger guard here that it really helps like lock my support hand in even tighter. It doesn't slip at all. It kind of interfaces with my support finger right here, and it just can't move. So I'm excited to get back on the range next weekend and actually do some live fire with this and see how it holds up. And then over time, I will kind of follow up again and let you know how it's performed, how it's held up, how often I have to change it if I do. And yeah, I've been looking at like silicone carbide and stuff to put on the grip, but I don't necessarily want to commit to something like as permanent as that. And for me, at least right now, this feels very, very grippy. And if I ever want to change it or go to some other method, then I can very easily just take that off and it's done. So guys, with all that being said, I hope there was something in the video that you could pick up on that maybe helped you. That is enough rambling. Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.